going down this memory lane, I know can be difficult and hard because, of course, you might be revisiting these moments in your life that were challenging and not easy and maybe not the most beautiful thing. But it's crucial to remember that recognizing these patterns is that first step towards understanding the stories we've created from our past so we can rewrite them in a way that serves us and allows us to live in alignment with our desires and our truth and with the legacy that we want to leave behind about who we are. Unleash the untapped potential within you as we dive fearlessly into the realms of healing, personal growth, self-love, and uncharted territories of the human experience. Join us as we navigate relationships, conquer career and business milestones, and explore the depths of spirituality. This isn't just a podcast, it's a manifesto for the resilient, the ambitious, the soul-searching women and men of today. Grab your coffee and let's dive in with Beyond the Surface. You know, there's always that moment where you realize that things have to change and you kind of hit this wall and you finally get to a point and you say, I'm done. And you decide to do something about whatever it is that you are experiencing or have been experiencing. And for me, it was when I realized that I was kind of a workaholic. And I was working with a branding coach, Tally Miller, and one moment we're talking about branding, and then the next moment we were unpacking this big pattern that had been running my life, overworking, always on, working hard. And if I wasn't doing XYZ, then imposter syndrome would kick in and I would question if I was doing enough. And our subconscious mind is made up of a network of neural pathways. I'm sure you've heard this before. And these pathways are formed by past beliefs, conditioning, and experiences. We're programs, right? And so we have all these patterns that are running that most are unconscious and impacting us in ways that we might not necessarily be aware of. And in order to alchemize these patterns that are running on autopilot, we have to take a step back and truly observe ourselves, observe our qualities, both positive and negative, our values, everything. We have to become the observer of our lives and look at ourselves from a bird's eye view. And then things start to come to the surface in those moments for us to become aware of how our behavior is impacting others or ourselves. And in my case, the only person I was hurting by running this pattern on overdrive was myself. I was spending less time with family. There was less time connecting with my now fiance. And I wasn't really moving any needle forward in my business and where I was at. And so that's where the beginning of this journey of ease began. I gave myself a break on the weekends was my starting point, and it wasn't easy, but it's become a new normal. And just by simply doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where I am off and disconnected, has allowed more time for play. And that's ultimately what I needed more of in my life, was just allowing myself to play, to experience pleasure, to experience life, to go back to those roots, specifically in my relationship, go back to those roots where, you know, where you're kind of in that honeymoon phase at the beginning of your relationship. For us, we were had our adventure lists. And so just coming back and revisiting that and bringing that back into our lives and ultimately making that a priority for us was everything that I needed to make that switch and be able to not be on overdrive. Turning off notification was also a thing that I did, and again creates a separation. I don't have any notifications on my phone aside from messages, but social media apps, emails, no notifications. I don't want that to consume my day and my all my time. And so it's important for us to look at and question, like, how do we become aware or bring awareness to a pattern that might be subconscious. So one of the things that Tally, the branding coach that I worked with, guided me through was timeline work. And so essentially what you do is you take out a piece of paper. One column is the experience, good or bad. And in another column is where you're reflecting on that experience and the story that you created from the experience. And that could be good or bad. It could be a good belief that you created from it, or it could also be one that is not necessarily serving you. I don't want to say bad, but not necessarily serving. So as I reflected on this experience, I realized that where this pattern developed and came from was seeing my mom work so hard and watching her struggle to put food on the table, to keep a roof over mine and my sister's head. And I remember feeling guilt when I would wake up after her and go to sleep before her, before she was even home from work, because she was working multiple jobs. Going down this memory lane, I know, can be difficult and hard because, of course, you might be revisiting these moments in your life that were challenging and not easy and maybe not the most beautiful thing. But it's crucial to remember that recognizing these patterns is that first step towards understanding the stories we've created from our past so we can rewrite them in a way that serves us and allows us to live in alignment with our desires and our truth and with the legacy that we want to leave behind about who we are and what we want to leave in this world. For me, breaking free from that workaholic pattern allowed me to reclaim time for myself, for my family, for my passions. It's a journey of integrating ease and also grace into my daily life, something that I never thought was possible. So I challenge you, or I invite you to take a moment after this episode to reflect, to grab a piece of paper and create those two columns, one for the different experiences that you remember that were really those big moments in your life, and reflect on them. What were some of the stories and beliefs that you created from them? Good and maybe not so good. Beliefs that are serving you and beliefs that might not necessarily be serving you. See what patterns start to emerge and how have these stories influenced your behavior? How are they impacting your life right now in a way that's serving you and in a way that is not serving you? Awareness is the key to transformation. It's the key to alchemize anything. It is the key. I have always said that. And by bringing these subconscious patterns to light, you set the stage for true change. Because once it's brought to your awareness, then you have two choices. You have the choice of continuing down the same path and doing the same thing, or you have a choice to make that change. If you found this episode insightful, I would love for you to join the conversation, share your thoughts, your aha moments, and any patterns you've uncovered in the comments below or on social media. And if you're ready to dive deeper, stay tuned for the next episode where we'll explore the next stage of alchemy, which is our shadow work. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening. Make sure to leave a review and continue the conversation with me over on social media, and we'll see you in the next episode.